we are. We're live.
Are we live?
We are.
Is anybody out there? Hello? Hello?
Look, you're getting hearts already. Look at all these hearts.
It's just like Valentine's Day, Amanda. Wow.
Look at all these people joining.
Who
Hi,
are
Ryan.
you?
Hi,
Who's
Alyssa.
Jennifer Design? Hi, Claire. Claire follows us and follows Kim and I. I recognize her from Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, there you go.
We had an incredible fan base there. It's my favorite Canadian. Is that your name or is that just me? Hey, hi. I got a tweet from you in 2012. Wow.
He's a huge fan.
All right, what do we do here?
He loves you so much. Maybe he's talking to me, though. Oh,
Maybe.
My favorite
Hi,
shark.
Rosie
I like
Hunter.
it. All right, should we start with some
Look
questions?
how big my head looks, Amanda. I look massive on Periscope. Oh my God. All right.
Ours the best. Fave dance.
Amanda, what do you think of my new haircut?
I like your new haircut.
You do?
I think you're growing into it.
So at the end of Shark Tank, on the last day of filming, the ladies who do Shark Tank said, 7 years, enough of that haircut, and they gave me this. It's been 2 months. I still don't know what I think about it.
I like it.
I don't know. Are we so LA or what? We're talking about my
We're talking
hair.
about hair.
I know. Let's talk about real business.
Let's talk about real business.
All
Speaking
right.
of which, we have some questions here.
We do?
From my new favorite Twitter follower, at Anna Pizza Pasta. Anna's Pizza
I'm
Pasta
so
out of
hungry.
Illinois. They're awesome.
Have
They
you been
ask
there?
you, I have not yet,
Okay.
but I'm going to go. They just did a really cool thing where all of their employees went out and did Christmas caroling. Just around the town.
See,
That's
I
what's
think
so great about small businesses. They keep the
No,
community
I hear
going.
you. But I think if my employees did that, we would never get business again.
Yeah, I guess we didn't
My
ask
employees
her
have
if they
no
were
talent.
good.
Yeah.
If they were good singers. Okay. She would like to know, how does being a shark change the way people approach you for advice? They stop you on the street?
Well, it's interesting. When you're a shark, people think you know what you're talking about. And the reality is, we actually, over 7 years, learn a lot about spotting deficiencies in a business. Here's the amazing thing is when people come on our show, all 5 of us will disagree as to what makes a good investment. And that's why you hear us argue and bicker and we're like children. But it's amazing how quickly we are able to spot holes in a business. And it really helps me with my business. My team comes and presents stuff to me. I'm like, oh, they'll never work. And I know they're rolling their eyes going, oh, he's being a shark right now. But it helps. It gives you perceived credibility and gives you just, it's like anything. The more you do something, the better you get at it. I'm convinced if I was on Dancing with the Stars another 10 seasons, I would have won.
Would you be on it 10 seasons in a row?
No. Nobody in America needs to have that much pain and see me dance again.
What did you think about being on Dance with the Stars?
Very interesting. I took it as a business guide. There's a lot of stuff I learned about business and marketing. And what you and I talked about this morning, one of the biggest mistakes small businesses make is they don't focus enough on marketing. And that's the first thing you learn on Dancing with the Stars is you've got to sell yourself. And you can't do that when you run a small business. And that's why having Deluxe in your corner is so great because it allows a professional to help you with that.
Absolutely. Very cool. All right, so at Space Girl 0791,
Look,
I
somebody
think her
loved
name
my
is
sexy hips.
at
Kim.
Space Girl, the one who is asking the
Where's
question,
Kim when I need
Marilyn
her?
from New Jersey, wants to know of your small business investment, which one is highly successful and why?
So thank you for the question. I like to think that I have a great track record on Shark Tank. We haven't lost any money yet. We have some investments that are on life support, knock on wood. But we've had a few that have done very well. And Tipsy Elves, which I love, I always talk about. Happy Feet, Natural Grip, we have a number of them. But all the sharks have. And the consistency we see in the ones that do well are the entrepreneurs. Always bet on the jockey. It's pretty rare that we see a great product and the people running the business aren't into it or aren't motivated and the business takes off. I don't think we've ever had that. Look at all the hearts we're getting.
A lot of hearts.
This is great. All right.
Oh, she loves Happy Feet.
Happy Feet are great, and we just did a deal with DreamWorks where you can now get Shrek slippers, and we're talking to other retailers along that line.
They make a perfect Christmas or holiday gift, so Happy Feet.
They do. 21 days until Christmas.
21 days, so go buy some slippers. All right. At Yosi would like to, which is Rosie Hunter, would like to know how old was the oldest startup small business entrepreneur you've met and the business?
On the show, how old was the oldest? I don't remember, but age is really relative, says the old guy. It's funny. I never feel old as an entrepreneur. It all depends on how energized I am by the opportunity. I think opportunity makes you young and keeps you vibrant and keeps you going. But it's all relative. Where was I the other day? I was hanging out with some people and they were in their 70s and they looked at me and they said, "Oh, to be 53 again." And, I'm thinking, "Oh, to be 39 or whatever." So there is no age restriction. There's no intelligence requirement to start a business. You just got to really want to do it.
Well, you're getting a lot of comments that you're not old, so.
Well, those are, that's Kim doing it somehow to influence it.
All right, so we have a question here. How do you feel about a new business cold call emailing and, it went away.
So
how do you feel about cold calling?
At the end of the day, you have to get in front of your customers. And cold calling is not dead, and neither is email marketing, as you and I talked about. I still believe one of the most effective ways to get to your customers is email marketing, especially for people that already bought from you. You've got that information. You've got it in your database. Email them, but don't sell to them. That's the mistake I see people make is the email starts with $39.99. People don't really like that. Give them information and sell to them in a very subtle way.
Mm-hmm. We were just talking about this morning, about how email marketing, people prefer email because you have the option to opt in or opt out. You're asking the brand to be back in front of you.
If I've made the conscious decision to buy from you and I like you and you send me some interesting information that I like, I'm going to read it. Mm-hmm. Ferrari sends me an update on the latest car. I'm going to read it. I know they're selling me, but I'm still going to read it.
Ferrari, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In your opinion, what is the most critical talent a business owner can possess?
Resilience. I've met entrepreneurs who are brilliant, and I've met entrepreneurs who are incredibly technical and have incredible insight. And you're always going to get those ends of the spectrum, but I really think you just got to keep going. I think it's the ability to get up and absorb failure that gives you success over the long term. Because when you're having a great day and you feel great and everything's going your way and you win the lottery, yay! But it's those days when stuff goes wrong, and stuff is going to go wrong. Life is really, really hard. And the challenge is, if you're willing to sit around and let life take control of you, and you're willing to meander along that path, you can have an easy life. But if you want to get somewhere, it's going to be hard because the rest of the world doesn't want you to get there. And it's that ability to absorb failure.
I like it. We just got a great question on the screen that said, what do you think the impact is of small businesses on the economic climate like in our country?
One of the greatest things about America and Canada is we are still the land of opportunity. I know there's a lot of talk now about immigration and what we need to do about immigration, but I got to tell you, we are the bastion of opportunity for the world. This is still one of the greatest countries in the world to start a business and be successful. And I think small business is the driver of all of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Very true. And a pizza pasta. Nothing comes easy. Hard work makes it easy. I like that. How important do you think it is for a small business to have a social media presence?
Well, today, if you're not online, in some ways you don't exist. If you go to a red carpet event or any kind of a media event, you see three types of people. You see the people standing right in the front who are participating live and watching it. Then you see the people taking pictures and videotaping it. And then you see the people taking pictures of the people taking pictures. And it's a generational thing. I want to go to a concert and take it in. people slightly younger than me want to go to a concert and take it in and take a few pictures, and then millennials want to go and videotape it. And the event doesn't become real until they share it with somebody else. Where was I? I was at a concert the other day of somebody older than I, and the performer comes out and says, please don't take any pictures. Like, while you're here, enjoy the concert. And my first reaction was, oh, that's so cool, the guy's old school. And then my second reaction was, he's an idiot. He doesn't understand his customer base, because people, it's not real until you share it. Your online presence is your calling card. Your online presence is the modern day business card. It's how people see you, it's how they perceive you, and it's got to be how people think of you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it used to be that, to start a small business, you would have to go out and rent space, and you'd have to set up a brick and mortar store. But now you can start a small business just by putting up a website, and you can start any business tomorrow. And so that people expect, now that marketing's become accessible to every business of every size, it's now expected of businesses of all sizes. You expect to be able to search for a certain kind of business and find it online.
Right.
So that is really important. You were just asked, what is your favorite social media platform?
We're trying to use all the platforms we can. I mean, I use Twitter a lot. I can't remember the last time I read a newspaper. I love the fact that Twitter is so relevant, and you see the stuff before it actually almost happens in some ways. In my business in cybersecurity, we actually monitor social media to tell where cyber attacks are. It can give you so much information. What's your favorite media?
I like different ones for different purposes. So Facebook for personal, Twitter for business, and Instagram kind of for fun.
Do you use Snapchat?
And Periscope. I love Periscope.
Well, who doesn't?
Isn't this great?
It's really part of Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a question a little bit earlier here about how do you know the difference between resilience and when you should give up? How do you know that you're maybe hanging on too long? Like, when do you know that you've crossed over that?
Boy, whoever asked that, that's a great question, because the most common fallacy of what I just said was people take that to mean keep going at all costs. And that's actually not true. You have to have guideposts along the way. So if you want to get into a business, you got to give yourself a time frame. A goal without a timeline is just a dream. And it's very difficult to become successful if you're a dreamer.
I like it. It's good. And that was at Avery who asked that. So good question at Avery. All right. So some say that one of the reasons small business fail is burnout. Do you have any advice for small business owners if they feel like they're facing
what kind of burnout?
I think just overwhelming of the kind of the time, the effort, the energy. They're just burnt out being an owner.
That's a very interesting question. Here's my answer to it. Nobody cares. They don't. Nobody cares. Your role as a business owner is to bring joy into the lives of others, including your customers. That's it. I mean, that is the brutal, harsh reality. And it's hard. And that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to run a successful business, because, your spouse doesn't really care. Your customers don't really care because they have their own problems. And so I'm a pretty happy guy most of the time. And on those days when I'm not and the customer says, how you doing? I say, I'm wonderful, because it's not my job to be not wonderful all the time. Having said that, you got to know what makes you tick. I've always been pretty good about knowing when I'm reaching the end of my ability to keep going in a positive way. And so for me, it's exercise. When I'm overwhelmed, I hit the gym, I run a lot. And it's not because I'm a great runner. I'm actually a horrible runner. But I try to run a certain amount of distance, and when I do it, I feel like I've accomplished something. So when the world seems overwhelming to me, I break it out into small accomplishments. And some days, my only accomplishment is to get to the gym. And on those days, baby, I'll take that. I'll take that little glimmer of happiness. Some days it's running 5 miles. Some days it's closing a big deal. But you've got to always build on the positive and let go of the negative.
That's true. They always say that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
So true.
Right? So I think it's about loving what you do, and if you, I mean, being an entrepreneur is really an honor, and running a business and providing that kind of joy and experience to your customers should be an honor. And if it doesn't feel like that, then maybe entrepreneurship isn't.
See, somebody
the
said
right
balance is the key. I coach hockey and baseball. You're right. You just got to figure out what works for you, what makes you happy, and what makes you do it.
We're just reading the comments on the screen.
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
good. Okay, that's very good. All right, so if you guys have any more questions, send them our way. We'll take one more question. And I have a couple more here that were sent in. But does anyone else on the line have a question for Robert or for me? They're going to ask you a question. All right, if you were to design, or what do you think about using a platform like Etsy? That's a good question.
You know, I think you've got to find the platform that works for your customers. Your customers live and communicate in a certain area, and it's not about what you want to do. It's about finding the cadence of what your customers are doing. Before I teach you how to sell, I have to teach you how to sell too. You know, even the worst salesman in the world can sell Kool-Aid next to a broken down bus in the middle of the desert. Find your customers. It's not what platform I like or you like. It's what customers are you trying to sell to and what platforms are they on.
Mm-hmm. That's a good answer. All right, well, those are all the questions we have time for today. Thank you for joining us on this Periscope. I just realized we didn't even introduce ourselves. People know who you are.
Oh my gosh.
You know who I am.
Yeah.
My name's Amanda Brinkman. I'm with Deluxe, and I head up the Small Business Revolution, which is what Robert has been helping advocate for this whole year.
Yeah, and Amanda's kind enough to have me involved, and it's a great program. We went around recently and gave a check for $25,000 to a small business, which changed their life. And then next year we're doing a similar program, but for communities.
Yes, absolutely. So stay tuned for more on that. So thank you for joining us.
Have a nice weekend.